WBET 1460 news time is 9.5 minutes after 9, and here's Lou MacNally at the WBET Metro South Weather Center.
Sunshine heads our way with daytime high temperatures nudging 60 today, but it's just the start. Looks like there's more of the same for tomorrow and Wednesday, sunny and even warmer, with high temperatures well on up into the 60s. That's the way it looks from here. This is Lou MacNally, 1460 WBET.
Currently in Brockton, 54 degrees on the outside. I'm Tom Roulstone, WBET News. Next, it's Newsline with Bill Alex.
WBET 1460 presents the Newsline on the Metro South News and Information Leader. Bill Alex is your host. Call now at 587-2400. And now, here's Bill Alex.
Good morning and thank you. Welcome to Newsline, the 23rd of October. How was your weekend? It is a Monday. The sun is out. A little cold this morning, a little nippy, scraping those windows off. Frost on the pumpkin. After all, it is fall. Today we have our general manager, radio stations WBET and WCAV in studio, Bill Sebet. And before we start taking telephone calls, we ask you to hold off a little bit on the phone calls. We'll discuss a few things that have transpired over the weekend. And then we will open up the lines and let you discuss the topics of the day and any questions you may have for Bill Sebet. Good morning, Bill. Welcome to Newsline.
Good morning. Thank you very much, Bill. It's a pleasure to be here again.
I understand you have some news for us this morning.
Well, Bill, this was probably one of the best weekends of my entire life. In my 22 years in this business, I don't think I've ever had anything quite as nice happen to me. In fact, I guess overall, the only two things I could put ahead of this was the day I got married and the day my son was born. Saturday evening was the convention, the dinner part of the Massachusetts Broadcasters Convention, which was held this weekend in Northampton, and it was awards night. And as you know, there are over 150 radio stations in Massachusetts. We were chosen, WBET, 1460 AM, was chosen as the radio station of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And this award, of course, being prestigious when you consider the competition, they don't take an award, one to a small market, one to a big market, one to a major market. There is one radio station of the year, from no matter how big or small you are. I'd also like to congratulate Ed Perry of WATD FM in Marshfield. They were the runner-ups this year. So a nice hats off. The South Shore and Metro South really cleaned up this year with the two awards. But we took the top one. I'm extremely proud of this. And what pleases me the most is that the judging this year was done by the Maine Broadcasters Association. We did a reciprocal where Mass Broadcasters Association judged the winners for the Maine broadcasters and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
So with that in mind, the people up in Maine have no idea of the stations they're dealing with, basically. I mean, they took the entries, read them over, listened to the tapes that were sent, and I would briefly just like to make some of the comments that came from the people up in Maine. They congratulated us on our news coverage, on the fact that they felt we were extremely fair, that we were unbiased in our reporting, that we covered the local scene, which is what a local station should be doing. We weren't pretending to be somebody that we weren't. We weren't trying to make ourselves into a Boston station because of the close proximity that we did Metro South, which is where we are and what we should service. Another thing that was mentioned was our campaign for the water conservation that we did all year. They felt that was a campaign above and beyond the criteria, again, of what our license calls for us to do.
Mm-hmm.
They mentioned the American Red Cross, which Charlie Bergeron and the staff has worked so hard with on their blood drives. The Heart Association, we gave them Valentine's Day and let them come in here and take over the entire station. Muscular Dystrophy Telethon, we've been there for 10 years. All these little things. And Bill, is a little feather in your cap. They made some very, very kind comments about both you and Marion Roble in the talk show, and particularly on your type of program. They said one of the things that they notice about many talk show hosts is they love to make big plays and throw out innuendo and hearsay and rumors to get callers and make everything look like this is wonderful and great, and let's start controversy all over the place. And the feeling was that you were not that type of a host, that your show was you put out facts. They were checked, they were verified before they went on the air, and you allowed your listeners to then discuss the facts. And it wasn't just, let's throw out some stuff, see what sticks, and take it from there. And they were very complimentary to you and to Marion both on that type of an affair. And if I must, again, it's probably tooting our own horn, but to me, this is just quite an honor that we can't go by. My own thanks, particularly to Myron Fuller and Chick Fuller. They are the basic principals that own the radio station through the Enterprise Corporation. In the 4.5 years that I've been here, when I came, they allowed us to pick our own management team. They let us do the things that we felt as broadcasters had to be done. So to them, my heartfelt thanks for allowing us to do the job the way we saw fit. And also to our listeners. Because if you think back, Bill, over every 3 or 4 months I come on here with you and we take some things from some of our listeners. So many of the things that they have mentioned. The fact when I first came here, they talked about why didn't we have a local news announcer here on Saturday and Sunday? Why didn't we do more of it? Why didn't we expand upon our local news? How about more local sports? We added Brockton High hockey and basketball. Those were things that came from our listeners. And we turned those into now things that are regular events here at the station. The swap shop, that came from listeners wanting to be able to do that. So our listeners deserve a pat in the back for those people that have stayed with us through all these almost 43 years. And that's another point that I have to look at this. We've been on the air 43 years under the same ownership. We've been continuously on the air for 43 years, not on the air, off the air. We haven't changed formats over the time. The station has been rock solid for almost 43 years now. Again, being allowed to do the things that we thought we had to do. So many people deserve credit. Charlie Bergeron as the Director of Operations here. Peter Avora as Program Director. Steve Mason, the Production Manager, who put together, by the way, our entry. Steve Albert, who handles our public service. Tom Roulstone as News Director. You and Marion as our talk show host. And you also as a news anchor. Betsy Zulis from the News Department. Dick Benham behind the scenes with everything. You even told the sales staff in for the job. Dana Popo, our engineering staff, will keep us on the air. Everybody, all the part-timers that are in here. There's just so many people. Everybody deserves a piece of this pie. We're very proud. We're very happy. It is something that no one can ever take away from us. We are the radio station of the year for the entire Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
Very nice. Bill Sebet is our guest this morning. We're going to open up the lines pretty soon, and you're going to have a chance to talk to Bill if you have any questions about programming here on WBET. If you would like to comment on our winning the award of Station of the Year, the Mass Broadcasters Association. Let me just ask you about the submission of the tape. Now, we submitted a tape.
Yes.
Were there some criteria for that tape? In
Yes.
other words, or was that
there were
left
many.
up to the individual
No, there were
station?
many different categories. There were a number of minor. There were a lot of awards given out for different types of events. There was a public service award, and there were sports awards, children's programming awards.
I see.
But the Station of the Year had to have a complete overview of what the station did. So you had to shoot, if you did some news, we do the talk shows, our music, our sports, our public service, everything. You had to include a little bit of everything, and then you had to document it. So it wasn't just putting in a tape of what we did. We then had to submit documentation. Now, we had many, many letters.
On-air programming.
Of on-air programming.
Okay.
We submitted letters from the American Red Cross thanking us every time that we had the blood drives. The things from the muscular dystrophy, we had tapes from that. We had letters from the United Way campaign for all that we did to help them. All of these things went together. Bill, we had a package that, well, the people can't see it, but it was a good 6 inches thick of materials that was sent up. They listened to the tape, they read the material, there was a letter from me stating all the different things that we did, and then had the material to back it up to show that we did do the things we said we did.
How often does a station our size win such an award? You think of radio stations, most people, and they think of the award winners being the heavy hitters in Boston, your BZs, your RKOs, your HDHs, your EEIs.
To be honest with you, the medium and small stations have done very, very well. And I think one of the reasons they do so well is because we tend to be a little bit more community-oriented. And if you look at the reason for a license bill, it is to be community-oriented. So I think the small and medium-sized stations have held their own in this. There was talk at one point about breaking this up and letting the big stations have an award, the medium marks and the small, and it was felt, no, Massachusetts we're going to put them all together and pick one and just honor that one particular station. I'm kind of glad they did, because it's nice being chosen person overall and not just being compared against people the same size as us. This is everybody thrown into the hopper together.
Okay, our guest is Bill Sebet, General Manager here at WBET and WCAV. It is 20 after 9. We're going to take a break, and we'll be back with your calls after this.
Well, you know you're gonna buy a Chevy, yeah. Get a great deal and buy a Chevy, yeah. Come on, y'all. Chevrolet.
If you own an import car, the Chevy dealers of New England are really going to give you something to shout about. How does $1,400 cash back sound? Now, don't adjust your radio. You heard right. $1,400 cash back when you buy a 1990 Geo Prism. Domestic car owners can get $800 cash back, or you could choose low financing. The Geo Prism is a beautiful car with the sleek looks, aerodynamic design, and features you'd expect from the more expensive imports. And you know, the fact that you can get $1,400 cash back makes the Geo Prism look even more beautiful, which explains what all the shouting's about.
Buy a Chevy, yeah. Get a great deal and buy a Chevy, yeah. Get a great deal and
Advance into the year 2000. Make your home more valuable and energy efficient with advanced technology from Advanced Window Systems of Brockton. Advanced Window Systems features the latest styles and advancement in replacement windows and vinyl siding. Advance into the future of energy savings with Advanced Window Systems, serving the galaxy for over a decade and making it easy with 100% financing. Beam into their showroom today at 507 Crescent Street, Route 27, or call for a brief in-home presentation. Advanced Window Systems, planning for the future today.
Welcome back to Newsline 922. Our guest is Bill Sebet. Good morning. You're on the air.
Bill and,
Bill and Bill, yes.
Bill and Bill.
How are you?
Congratulate you. And also Charlie Bergeron, who I know, and all the people on WBT. Congratulations.
Well, thank you. You're very kind.
I would like to say one thing. I enjoy WBET tremendously, but I would like to know if in the future there would be any chance of extending the Irish program on Sunday evenings like another hour.
Okay, our problem right now is that we're pretty much tied up the entire day. The program has been 2 hours in length for a long time. I think that was due to the hosts. That's the time schedule that Jim Larkin has in order to do the show. Whether Jim could do another hour or not, we don't know at this point. We've never really addressed it, and at this time there is no other spot that we could move him because of the other programming that is before and after him. They are there. If someone was to leave one of those programs, we could talk that over with Jim, and maybe that could happen in the future.
What is that show on, ma'am? When do you listen?
From 5 to 7 p.m. on Sunday evenings, and he won't do it for another hour. I will.
Well, it's a case now, as you probably know. Prior to that, there was a gospel show, and following Jim, there was a Haitian show. So it would mean that, you know, in order for this to happen, one of those people would have to either drop their show or something along those lines. And I know that they're pretty happy with the response they're getting from their own show. So at this point, I don't see that happening. But again, that doesn't mean it won't in the future. You never know.
Well, I would like to have Bill Alex on for a couple more hours, too.
Well, I guess it's good and bad to this point. Bill, as you probably know, anchors on News Desk after he gets through from here, so he does have to finish up at 10:30 so that he can get into the newsroom and start preparing his newscast for the afternoon. So there really isn't time for Bill to stay on longer because of his other duties.
Okay, I thank you, and again, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for the call, ma'am. 587-2400, that is our telephone number. Ask the manager, Dave, if you have some questions, some comments, some criticisms, some suggestions. We'd like to hear them. Bill Sebet is our guest. In addition to being general manager of this radio station and WCAV, Bill is also vice president of the radio department for the Mass Broadcasters Association, and that's a new honor, isn't it?
Yes, that happened Saturday morning. Thank you very much, Bill. The election for the new officers and board of Mass Broadcasters took place Saturday morning. I was very honored to be the vice president of radio. There's some great people that have served on that board in the past, and I feel honored to be there with them.
Great. Good morning. You're on the air.
Morning.
Yes, how are you?
Bill, I would like to know if you could put your schedule or calendar in the newspaper.
That's a good question.
So we could see when, like, Steve Albert's show or Andy Dalton, if they're not going to be on because of Bruins Brockton High or something like that.
One of the problems, I think, with that is it basically comes down to, with the newspaper sometimes, is just it's a lack of space. They don't have the space in order to get it in the paper. You will find special events being listed in the paper, particularly sports. If you ever want to know if the Bruins are playing, and they will interfere with some of our regular programming, if you look under the sports pages of the Enterprise, you will find under professional hockey, it will list Boston Bruins and it will list WBET and what time the game is coming on. So you'll know that particular night or afternoon or day that there will be a Bruins game on. That is listed in the Enterprise all the time.
Let me ask you a question, Bill. Now, you pick up a Boston paper, and occasionally you will see some of the Boston radio stations talking about a certain program that they have on during the day. It's normally in the TV listings. Now, are they paying for this? So
I don't believe that they are, Bill. But the Boston stations, of course, get coverage from the Boston papers. And that's basically what it comes down to. I don't believe that they're paying.
Like they may be promoting a certain talk show or a certain...
Right, that if they were promoting a talk show, that would be a paid advertisement. Unless it is written up by the radio critic, for instance, of a newspaper, then it wouldn't be. But if you just saw something listed on one like the TV page, that would be a paid advertisement, yes.
I think this lady, if I'm... incorrect, tell me, you'd like to see something on a regular basis, ma'am, with all of the programs listed?
Yes, like put in a calendar, a monthly calendar saying when they are going to be on and when the...
I will tell you, I will pursue that with the paper.
Andy had a very good show last night. He had a lot of callers. Sometimes he only gets one or two, but last night he was getting calls from, I think, Weymouth, too.
Okay, well, that's great. I will look into that again and see what we can do.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for your comments, ma'am. Bye-bye. 587-2400. We're discussing programming this morning, radio station WBET, and also WCAV. If you're a country fan, if you listen to WCAV radio and you have any comments, suggestions, by all means, fire away. Let's jump over to our sister station.
There is one thing I would like to say about that. We have, I've talked with Michael Page this morning. Many of our country fans, because of the number of radio stations that have dropped country music. We've seen 3 major players drop within the last 4 months. I will tell you today, as long as Bill Sebet is general manager and Michael Page is station manager, there will not be a change in format on WCAV. It is a country station. It will remain a country station. And we want that emphasized.
And a very successful
I don't care.
one,
That's right. I don't care what any other stations are saying the country music format doesn't work. It's staying on.
Joining us now live on the telephone is Bob Merman, the Executive Director of the Massachusetts Broadcasters Association. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning. How are you?
Fine, thank you. We're quite excited here in Brockton this morning at WBET, and I appreciate you coming on this morning, Bob.
Well, congratulations once again. I think that was a wonderful job that you guys did, and you deserve it.
Well, thank you. And with me this morning, Bob, is Bill Sebet.
I remember him.
Good morning, Bob. How are you?
Morning, William. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Good. I'll tell you, the look on Bill's face when the award was made Saturday night, I was watching, and this smile came over his face, and the gesture, wowee, this kind of a thing. You know something? As I said to Bill the next morning, yesterday morning, you people certainly should be congratulated. You do such wonderful work there, and we recognize it. The peers up in Maine who did the judging certainly recognize it, and they have some very, very nice comments to say. But the fun part of it, I think, is the fact that through the years, I think the audience knew it. The audience recognized it because you guys are doing such great work down there. And it's so much fun, and it's so good to realize that we knew we were doing well. We knew we were doing the right thing. We knew we were on the right track. We knew we were serving our community. Gee, isn't it nice to be recognized by our peers?
Now, is this the first time, Bob, that the judging went out of state? In other words, the state of Maine judged us. Is this a first for the Mass Broadcasters Association?
This is a first. In the past, we have had our own folks doing it, and then we decided that this really isn't right. We really should have some outside group do it. And last year, I had gone up to the Maine Broadcasters annual meeting, and the suggestion was made, why don't we just swap? And I thought that was a wonderful idea. So we did theirs this year, and they did ours.
Let me ask you about yourself, Bob Merman. If you could briefly tell us a little bit about yourself. I assume you're a long-time broadcaster.
A year or two, yeah.
Uh-huh.
I started way back, a place called WESX in Salem, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
And then went on, that was 1952, 53, somewhere around there. I forgot myself.
Mm-hmm.
Did both radio and television, signed on Channel 56. First time around was in the mid-50s, and that went dark after about 2 years because nobody was watching UHF in those days, even though they said, well, we've got 10,000 conversions in Boston. I think we had 3, the boss's wife and the general manager.
Uh-huh.
That's about it. But I've done local radio like WLYN in Lynn, where I was program director and operations manager.
Mm-hmm.
Talk radio there and talk radio WEEI. And then the last 15 years, this is my 3rd year with as executive director of mass broadcasters. Prior to this, I spent 15 years with WJIB as manager of public affairs.
Mm-hmm.
And great fun. But now I don't have to get up early in the morning anymore. It's nice.
Well, that's great. That's great. Congratulations to you also, Bob. Let me ask you about some of the other stations. Just about every station submit. How many stations submitted?
We had quite a few. Frankly, I lost track of exactly how many, but I think we probably had somewhere in the vicinity of about 20, 25, maybe 30 stations that submitted. And it was nice that this year we didn't have to worry about it. But we feel sort of badly for those that did not win. However, some of them got honorable mention. Obviously, not everybody won. The thing that's interesting, and the one thing you've got to remember, and the one thing I think that makes your award so great is the fact that you're up against all the major stations in the state.
Well, that's something that I mentioned earlier with Bill chatting here, and I was going to ask you that myself. You think of your HDHs, your RKOs, your EEIs, your BZs, and you say, how does BET in Brockton become number 1?
The reason is because everybody now is on an equal footing. The thing that says, the question, I guess, that's asked, what have you really done to aid your community? And that's what makes the station of the year. Everybody does it. Everybody does it somehow or other. And in your particular instance, the subject fortunately was there. Maybe it's a little bit of luck. I don't know. But you do what people do on a constant basis, and what all the stations do really on a constant basis, and then come up because you did a little bit better than everybody else, and that's why you won Station of the Year.
Well, needless to say, we appreciate you coming on this morning, Bob, and much success to you as Executive Director of the Mass Broadcasters Association. We appreciate sincerely the honor, and we appreciate your joining us this morning.
Let me also make one further comment, if I may.
Certainly.
Bill Sebet this year was unanimously elected Radio Vice President for the Massachusetts Broadcasters Association, mainly because of all the work that he's done through the years as a board member. And somewhere down the line, he's going to end up as president of the organization. And we're delighted to have him. And what he doesn't know, so don't tell him. It's a secret. He's got more work to do this year than he did in the past, and he did a lot of work in the past.
Well, thank you, Bill.
Bob, thanks an awful lot for the comments. We certainly appreciate it. This is a very happy place, as I'm sure you can guess this morning. The staff's pretty happy, and everyone around here is happy. The owners are happy, so that makes everybody happy.
That's great.
We appreciate you coming on, too. Thanks for being part of this.
My pleasure. And congratulations again.
Thanks again, Bob.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
That is Bob Merman, the Executive Director of the Mass Broadcasters Association. The lines are open at 587-2400. We'd like to hear from you this morning as we discuss programming here on WBET in Brockton, also programming for WCAV. If you have any suggestions, anything that you'd like to hear on the air, perhaps, something different, some type of programming that we're not doing right now that you feel would be significant, that would have impact on our audience, by all means, we welcome those suggestions. That's what it's all about, community service. That's what radio stations are all about. Let me go over here. Good morning, you're next. How are you?
Hi, Bill. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Everybody's happy this morning, I presume?
I think so.
It kind of sounds like it. I just heard Bill make a comment that made me one very happy person. as long as Country and Western stays on CAV, I'll listen to CAV.
Well, I'll tell you, and I'll reiterate it again, as long as I'm the general manager here and Michael Page is the station manager, you will not have to worry about it. We constantly keep hearing from these radio stations that have done country music or attempted it that, well, this just doesn't work. In New England, it can't work. People don't understand it. They don't like it. I'll tell you why those other stations have not been successful with their country music. They're not doing it properly. You know, what they're playing, yes, it's country music, but it's also the same kind of music that every adult contemporary radio station in the world is playing.
That's right.
They don't get into the real country music, and I think that's what separates WCAV from the rest of the radio stations that do country music.
That's what I was thinking. Is there are a lot of older people that like the older country music.
Right.
And of course, like everything else, the country music has to change and be brought up to date with the rest of it.
Sure it does, exactly. So, but there's room for all of it.
That's right. That's it. That's the one thing that a lot of them didn't have. They had just the top 40, and that's all you heard.
Exactly. So you're talking an adult contemporary station when you do that.
Do any of the radio personalities on WCAV, do you listen for any specific radio personality, or do you listen because you enjoy the music that we play?
I like the music.
Uh-huh.
I like the music.
Okay, so in other words, what you're listening for is that the music that you're getting on CAV.
And we do have friends that know Michael Page, so that kind of helps a little bit.
Okay.
I will tell you one thing. Not that we certainly don't love our personalities on there, but every one of them, if they just heard your comment, will be extremely pleased, even though it's always nice to be told that, you know, you listen because you enjoy Michael Page or Mark Burns or Mike Casey or the rest of the people who are here. But what really makes it go is the fact they want you to listen because of the music. That's what makes the station. That's why it's there. CAV is being run that way. And, again, you'll have nothing to worry about as long as we're here.
Well, if anyone walked into my house, they wouldn't have to look twice to see what kind of music I listen to, because between my records and my tapes, 90% of it is country and western from a long place back.
And what town are you calling from this morning, ma'am?
Brockton.
From Brockton. Well, we appreciate the call, and we thank you for joining us.
Okay, well, enjoy the day.
Thank you. Keep listening. We have a line open for you. Good morning. You're on the air with Bill Sebet.
Good morning, Bill.
Good morning, John. How are you?
Not too bad. I want to say it was very nice being on your show.
Well, we appreciate you coming on, John. Are you going to leave us, are you?
I'm going to leave. I'll tell you why. You got the program director right there, Bill?
We have the general manager here.
General manager.
Yeah.
Okay, I know at first there was a program where you could call every day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, now, we have an announcer there. He's on there answering the phone. He's kept me off for about an hour, half an hour, Bill.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that you don't post. Maybe we changed the schedule. We don't call every other day.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Now Al from East Bridgewater is not going on anymore because he's been told to get off the air, and I've been told by him to get off the air too.
Well, I don't think anyone has said get off the air. I think what you have to understand is, since Bill has taken over this show, the number of calls have tripled, and because of that, what we're trying to do is not have the same voices on every single day. Now, I'll be honest with you. I came from a radio station that only allows callers on twice a week on their show. That's it. 2 times a week. And it's done because we're trying to reach out to as many people as possible, and we need as many different views as possible. And that's the reasoning for saying we don't want people calling us. It's not that we don't want you on the show. It's the point that we want people no more than every other day so that we can get more voices, more thoughts, more ideas, because the more ideas and more thoughts we can get out on this show, the better listening it's going to be for everybody else. And that is the reason behind that.
I understand that. But let's put it this way. People that are handicapped, retarded, have a chance to get on there to speak out.
That's right. But we still don't want them calling 5 days a week.
Oh, no, but I think that this guy on the radio shouldn't be rude to people.
Well, I
mean, he's very rude. He says, what's your name? What are you talking about?
Well, he said, but that's what a producer is supposed to do. A producer screens the calls. He's supposed to ask who it is, because what happens many a times is we'll have a guest here. Bill will have a guest, and that guest is here to talk about a certain subject, and people will call up who want to talk about something else. And on that particular day, if we have a guest, we don't want them talking about something else. We want them talking about the purpose and the reason why that guest is here. And that's why people are asked as to who they are and what subject do they want to discuss that day. And if you want to talk about something other than why the guest is here, then you're not going to get on that day.
John, we enjoy you, John.
I do. You're a friend of mine, Bill. I don't care what.
We enjoy you, and we want you to call regularly. And I think you were shopping at Shaw's this weekend. Were you not at the South Side?
I was, Bill.
I didn't get a chance to see you, but a friend of mine saw you. And you know how he knew it was you?
How?
He recognized you from your photo in the Enterprise newspaper.
Kidding me.
That's a true story. And I saw you, well, I didn't see you, but this friend of mine saw you Saturday at Shaw's South Side. And,
I saw Bob, that fellow that works for City Hall, the water department.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
You work for cable?
Right.
Bumped into him.
Yeah.
I bumped,
See, a lot of people know you, John, so don't be offended, and you continue to call.
Okay, Bill.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye. 587-2400. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Bill. So nice to hear you again.
Well, thank you.
Could I speak to the manager?
Yes, I'm here, ma'am.
Yes, Bill Sebet. Go right ahead.
I just want to tell you that I think Bill Alex is a super person, has a great program, and is fair to both sides of the story.
Thank you for saying that.
You're
because,
entirely welcome.
you know, I'll tell you, Bill's hosted this show now 2 years. 2 years last month. And
long enough for me.
Well, exactly. You know, the nice point is, since Bill has taken over, I think what we've seen is we've seen this show become the type of show where all sides could get their story out.
And he's nice to all of them.
He would let everybody, even if, I think even Bill, when you've disagreed with callers, the point is you allow them to express their opinion. And
Sure.
that's what this talk show is supposed to be.
That's right.
Bill is a professional broadcaster in every sense of the word. I mean, when Bill finishes his show here, he's into the newsroom preparing news for the rest of the day. He's a professional announcer. He comes here, he does the job that he's supposed to do. Bill does not, when he does come on the air, he comes on with facts that have been checked. He makes sure that the things he's saying are proper, and then he lets the callers make the decisions one way or the other. And again, as I said, even if he disagrees, he doesn't downgrade the callers. He doesn't slam the phone down on them. He lets them speak their piece. In fact, Bill, I've heard you many a times, you may say, I happen to disagree with that point of view, but you're entitled to your opinion. And isn't that what a talk show should be doing?
He's professional in every way.
Exactly, ma'am. Exactly. We're very proud of what Bill's done with this program since he's taken it over.
Thank you, ma'am, for your comments. I
You're
appreciate
entirely
that.
welcome. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bill, I'll even mention, that came out from the main broadcasters as well. They did mention the way in which the talk shows were handled.
Oh, very
so
nice.
you can take that to heart, too.
Good morning. You're on the air with Bill Sebet.
Good morning, Bill. This is Vi Packard.
Councilor Packard, how are you?
Very good.
That's good.
I would just like to say that I appreciate the station letting any of us politicians come on.
Well, aren't you nice to call?
Well, I appreciate it. And there is...
You know, sometimes we slam the politicians, too, Councilor Packard. You know, they don't get away unscathed.
I know.
Right.
I would like to say, though, that I do have an announcement that, if possible, I could make today.
Certainly.
And what it is there will be a neighborhood watch meeting at the police station Wednesday night at 7 p.m. for the residents in the Perkins Avenue area.
Okay, this Wednesday, 7 p.m., will it be at the Enterprise Club or at the Walkover or where?
No, it's going to be held at the police station.
At the police station, okay.
And if there's anyone else in the ward that does have a serious problem, they're more than welcome to attend.
Okay, so again, a neighborhood watch for the Perkins Avenue area of Brockton, Wednesday, 7 o'clock at the police station.
Right.
Very good, Counselor, and we appreciate your kind thoughts.
Okay.
Thank you, Counselor, for calling. We do appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. 587-2400. We have one line open. Good morning. You're next.
Morning, Bill.
Good morning. How are you?
Morning, Mr. Sib.
Good morning.
I just want to say for the Monopoly game in the park and the Monopoly games so far that we've had on the radio on Friday nights, I think they've been a big success.
Okay, this is Steve Albert's program now, which is heard nightly here on WBET.
Right.
Okay, tell me about this Monopoly game. In other words, you're playing Monopoly on the air?
Monopoly right on the radio.
How do you do that?
One line, 6 foot and 60 is, I believe, was for the males, and 7 to 400 was for the females.
Correct.
That's interesting. Now, this is something, Bill Sebet, I'm
Yes,
sure
you
that
know-
Parker Brothers had to agree to, right?
Well, it's kind of funny. When Steve Albert came to us with this suggestion, I think we all looked at him like, Steve, what are you talking about, Monopoly on the radio? And he said, well, look, if I can make all the proper arrangements, could we try? So our feeling was, certainly, but we better talk to Parker Brothers because they own the rights to Monopoly. Well, I will tell you the reaction from Parker Brothers was one of astonishment. They said this game was invented in 1934, I believe. And again, I'm not sure of the year. But they said that since then, this was the first time that anyone had ever legally approached them to run Monopoly on the air. Now, they said someone else may have done it in the past, but they did it without their permission. Well, they were so ecstatic, they said, we'll supply you the games. You just play it. Well, it just so happened that there was an event going on over at DW Field Park, which Steve Albert went in as a human Monopoly piece.
I see.
And it was the Sunday prior to when he was going to start this on the air, and of course it turned out tremendous because the reaction was wonderful. But Steve has been getting some unbelievable response. Well, of course, we passed that on to Parker Brothers, who, needless to say, is thrilled with us right now because we're doing it. But what struck me as funny is when you think of the game Monopoly. I mean, everybody knows the game. That no one else has ever done this before. We were the first station that ever asked them if we could do it. And I'm glad that you enjoy that, man, because we noticed the reaction has been superb.
Well, I was, not in jail, but on the outside of jail. And I ended up winning a Monopoly game.
You were just visiting, as they say.
Just visiting, right.
Yeah.
Just they had it on another pot.
When you won the game.
Ron, I won a game.
Okay, who did you pick to roll the dice for you?
Who was it?
Which announcer?
It was Bill Sebet.
No, it wasn't me. I don't think I'm in on it.
Oh, it wasn't Bill.
No, it would have been either Charlie Bergeron or Steve Mason or Peter Rivora.
Was it Peter? I think I always go with.
Okay, well, Peter says then you owe him half of the phony money that you won in the game.
Well, I've got one. My son ended up winning the game, too, about 3 weeks ago.
And we give away a Monopoly prizes,
right.
do we?
Give away one Monopoly game to the girls and one Monopoly to games of boys each week.
Well, that's great.
Oh, that week.
That's great.
Read over for the following week. And
that's about a $15 prize, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure what the actual value is, but
they each have a chance. But
well, that's great.
You miss it because the last couple of weeks, I guess, is either hockey or...
Right, well, I will tell you one thing. There were only, as far as we know, all season, I believe there were 4 Bruins games on a Friday night, and 2 of them are already gone.
So this is a regular Friday night
It's a regular Friday night feed. There won't be too many Friday, depending again upon the high school basketball and hockey schedule, but for the time being now, there shouldn't be too many Fridays that will get interrupted.
We miss them. We miss them. We like them all week anyway. All week.
Well, I'll tell you that the nice thing about it, we will admit, he does get interrupted because of our Bruins schedule.
Well,
but what makes that nice, it gives you something to look forward to.
We had a long summer with them and had a lot of Elvis trivia and everything.
Good.
And we really...
Well, believe me, that will continue. That will continue. And we also have discovered that, have you ever been over to the Westgate Cinema the nights when Steve is there?
We were up there. Yeah, I went past.
Okay, well,
looking
at the Bruins... Good. Well, looking at the Bruins schedule, his last Wednesday night of the month appearances at the Westgate Cinema will not be interrupted at all. The Bruins are not playing the last Wednesday night of any month through the entire season.
And we give out passes, free movie passes.
Steve has free movie passes that he gives away in his shows.
Very good. Ma'am, I appreciate the call.
That's great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. We'll take one more before we go to a break. Good morning. Thanks for waiting.
Sebet, please.
Yes, here, speaking.
Well, I want to congratulate you on you get the Gold Dust twins back, Charlie and Tom.
Yes, we're thrilled. Tom is in very fine health, and he's back working a full day now, and I'm sure you can hear him and Charlie with their little banter in the morning, and Betsy doing a great job with Steve Mason in the afternoon, and I think our schedules are right on target again.
Tom is really making the program.
He sometimes is a little bit of a thorn in Charlie's side, I think, but Charlie takes it with a grain of salt. You know, he gives it back to him once in a while.
Yeah.
You know?
Hey, thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Bye-bye. It is 12 before the hour of 10. At 10 o'clock, we'll update you with the latest news. Bill Sebet, our general manager, is in studio this morning. Your comments, suggestions, whatever. We'll take a little break, and we'll be right back.
What do you want in your new car? Luxury, economy, family comfort, sports performance? Share Jeep Eagle in Brockton has them all. Everything from the Jeep Cherokee to the sporty Wrangler to the Eagle sedan. Try the new Eagle Triton, the performance car. Share Jeep Eagle also has a fine selection of used cars. There's no sense in paying more elsewhere. Visit Share Jeep Eagle where you'll find Brockton's best buys. Stop into their showroom for a test drive. Share Jeep Eagle, 1675 Main Street, Route 28, Brockton.
As American veterans of World War II, Korea, and Vietnam, the AMVETS has associated themselves to uphold and defend the Constitution, to safeguard the principles of freedom, liberty, and justice, to promote peace and goodwill among nations, and to preserve the fundamentals of democracy. Through the operation of thrift stores nationwide, AMVETS raises the critical financing to sustain the programs of service to veterans. Support these services by patronizing the Ambets Community Thrift Store in Brockton at Oak Village Crossing on Oak Street near the North Junior High School.
Hi, Bobby for Cape Cod Cafe. It's football time once again, and the Cod has some awesome boxer jackets to give away. They're far out. But bummer, man, I can't win one. But you know who's going to buy me one, right? And I can't win tickets to the Thanksgiving Day game either. That's bad news for me. But you can win boxer jackets and tickets, all from the Cape Cod Cafe at 979 Main Street right in Brockton. And don't forget to pick up your boxer schedule at the Cod. I'll see you at the game. If Dad comes up with the big bucks. Cape Cod Cafe, a proud sponsor of Brockton Boxer football.
Now there's a way to get the sky-high cost of water heating for your home back down to earth. It's the Rheem Energy Miser gas water heater from T.E. Corcoran Company in Brockton. Designed with special energy-conserving features, a Rheem Energy Miser water heater may even save you enough over its lifetime to pay for itself, excluding normal installation costs. Call T.E. Corcoran at 587-5700 or stop into 127 North Montello Street or 205 Bedford Street, Route 18, Lakeville. Ask about Rheem Energy Miser gas water heaters and get hot water costs back down to earth.
Welcome back to Newsline. It's 10 before 10. My name is Bill Alex. Our guest, Bill Sebet, and you are on the air.
Morning, Bill and Bill.
Good morning. How are you?
Oh, pretty good. I have a cold, but who doesn't?
Yeah.
I called to congratulate you.
Thank you.
And then I called to say my husband will be glad to hear that the TV is not going to be changed because they lost the country station in Boston not long ago, and when he's down here, he listens to this one.
Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah, and another thing, I hate to break this bubble here, but I can't handle sports 3 or 4 nights in a row, and I'm glad what you just said there, that Steve Albert's not going to be interrupted too much.
No, if you notice, the Bruins schedule is really kind of spread out. They opened the season playing almost every other day, but now there was a break. They played Saturday. They don't play again until Thursday.
Well, I miss Saturday because I listen to 5 hours of Steve. Whether I'm in the car or in the house, I listen to 5 hours of Steve Albert.
Right, well, of course, he won't be back in his Saturday afternoon show until after Thanksgiving. Well, excuse me, no, he will be on the Saturday prior to Thanksgiving. There is no football game unless we get a rain out or a snow out at Brockton High School. And I will tell you, I'm sure the sponsor doesn't mind, but Steve Albert will be out at Jewelers Merchandise over in Torrey Street, the west side of Brockton. He will be live from noon to 5 that Saturday prior to Thanksgiving. He'll be doing a show like the Oldie Show live out at the mobile van, so you can go out and visit him.
That's right up the street from me.
Okay, you'll be able to go visit him because that's where he's going to be.
As far as Monopoly, I won a game. Keep it up.
We will, believe me. As long as Parker Brothers says we can do it, we will continue to do it because obviously they own the rights to the game, so without their permission you can't do anything. But right now I think they're pretty happy with it.
Oh, it's really exciting.
Good.
It's a little bit rowdy, but it's...
It's something that most radio stations, I think, probably wouldn't want to even attempt to do, but we have the zany enough people here to do it.
Steve gets hot under the collar, but so what?
Thank you for your comments, Mary.
Bills win. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. What about sports, Bill? Let me ask you a question. Why do we have X amount of hours devoted to sports?
I think, Bill, there is a real need for it out there. When I first arrived here, we did Brockton High football, but basically, and they were doing Bruins, but we weren't doing anything else at the high school. We had many people, callers again on this program, say, gee, couldn't we have more Brockton High sports? I mean, I'd really like to hear some basketball games. We'd really like to hear some hockey games. We find there is a big audience for it. And I think what it does, Bill, it makes Steve Albert's show even better. Because if Steve was on 5 nights a week, 52 weeks a year, you know, sometimes there's a tendency for things to slow down because say, that's the same old thing. But when you keep having a Bruins game one night, so he's not on 5 nights this week, and then there's a basketball game or a hockey game, it splits up. It's a nice even split. We have many, many people who really do love sports in this area. It's the city of champions. And certainly the high school gives us plenty of champions. We'd like to think the Bruins might be a champion again some year. So it's for that reason, again, you're reaching out trying to handle all aspects of what we have here.
Okay, very good. Good morning. You're on the air with Bill Sebet.
Thank you, gentlemen. One of the reasons why the bigger stations lose out is because of the speed talk. Whoever invented speed talking on the radio?
Speed talking, huh?
Speed talking, where you listen to those stations and there isn't any way you can understand a word of what they're saying.
Yeah, I'll tell you why that happens. Having been in Boston radio, they do that hoping that you won't catch everything they're saying.
Do it
Believe me.
deliberately? You say they've done it deliberately?
I think it's intentional. In many, many cases, I believe it's intentional because I think they want to confuse people, figuring they'll get more callers that way.
I'm not talking about talk shows. I'm talking about general broadcasting all morning, all afternoon, when they're talking so fast about everything. You don't know the names of the cities, the towns, the people. You just can't think as fast as they're talking. Is consequently, all their talk is useless. And I'm surprised nobody... And I always say they talk faster than Puerto Ricans.
Mm-hmm.
If you know how fast they talk.
Well, certain ethnic groups are known to...
No slur now,
fast.
no slur. The Puerto Ricans talk fast.
Uh-huh.
The people on the radio
Yeah?
talk 10 times faster than them.
Uh-huh.
Now,
Well, maybe they got a lot of commercials they got to get in. Maybe that's it.
yes, but that's not serving the public because they've got a lot of commercials. Who cares about speed commercials or speed? I don't like. There's another thing I don't like is the banging of drums in music, and I'd like that phased out in all records.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we have no control over that.
Well, I mean,
unfortunately.
Drummers and put them on a boat and ship them out. They've taken over. I told Bill one day, drums don't make music; they make noise. Now, one other thing, a lot of people are feeding you lies, and I've got 4 notes here. The chief of police has told you you're going to have 10 policemen. He didn't. Where are the 10 policemen? People from the waterworks tell you lies. They're still put chemicals in the water. Now, people from the lottery are telling you lies. That James Hosker there said all the money goes back to the people, 35%. He lies. It goes to the governor. He gives it to the banks, and the banks squander it. Those are lies that have to be checked out. And the radioactive waste, several times I spoke about finding out from Plymouth where they put the waste, and Bill hasn't followed up on it. I wish he had, but my own opinion is, my own knowledge is it's being shipped to Louisiana under the poor people's houses in Louisiana and Nevada, and they don't want it.
Okay, my friend, well, we give you the opportunity to talk, don't we?
Yes, that's
all right.
That's why you're number one, and this here feeding you lies. The biggest lie was that one from James Hosker when he said all the money was going back to the people, and that's a deliberate lie.
All right, my friend, thank you for the call this morning.
You follow up on it. Get him up there and say he's not telling the truth.
Well, we told you about Mr. Hosker. We told you that the money that comes back is the instant tickets, the scratch tickets, and the daily number.
I mean, instant...
And that mass millions and megabucks goes to the governor.
Instant scratch. And what was the other one?
The scratch tickets and the daily number. That's what we get back.
All right, where are the 10 policemen that they said they were going to put on?
Well, we're working on that, too, and I appreciate the call. Thank you very much. We want to move along. Good morning. You're on the air.
Morning. I just want to say congratulations. You are so deserving of that award. We really enjoy the station and your show in particular, Bill.
Well, you're very kind. Thank you.
Thank you, man. We certainly appreciate the comments.
I really enjoy listening to WBET and CAB. Bill, I always enjoy your show. I feel that you state the facts and let other people give their opinions. I've been very impressed lately when you've had candidates. You never seem to take sides. You stay right down the middle and let them give their opinion. And I really appreciate that. I think that's what's needed in Brockton, not someone who feels they have to chastise city politics and give their opinions to people. And I really appreciate that. And I've got to tell you, I don't know when Betsy Zulis ever sleeps. I see her out all the time covering everything in Brockton.
She works very hard.
She does.
Extremely hard worker here. And again, I think that just proves the dedication by Tom Roulstone, Bill Alex, Betsy Zulis, and Dick Benham in our news department, and Jill Goodwin, who works weekends, Jeff Latchin, who works weekends. These people really put their heart and soul into delivering the news here in Metro South region. And you know, we've been calling ourselves the Metro South News, Sports, and Information Leader, and believe me, we believe that that is the truth, and I think this award just pulls that home all the more.
I can see that, and you brought up another thing, another question I wanted to ask. Tom Roulstone, does he work only for your station? I heard his voice on the other local station. Something happened. He started to talk, and then it was cut off.
Right, he only works for us. That is a matter that we are looking into.
Oh, I see.
We thank you so much for the call, ma'am.
Thank you, and keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll try to sneak one more in before news. Good morning. You're on the air.
Fine, Bill.
Good morning. How are you?
How you doing? Mr. Sebet?
Yes.
Fine, Richard. How are you?
Congratulations, number one, huh?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Well, main reason is the man beside you. He's one of the best around.
Well, we know that. In fact, the main broadcasters had that in their write-up about why we were the winning station. That was included in there.
You can ask everybody that's on your station. I don't talk to you personally, but I know them all, see? There's like one place I can see where you're missing out.
What's that?
Adding one. You got to get Peter George back.
He was back this Saturday.
I caught him Saturday. And
right.
I heard you...
Let me tell you one of the problems with Peter. I don't know if you're aware of this. Peter is the station engineer for WBET and WCAV.
Right.
He puts in a 40-hour week. If you ever go out to one of our live broadcasts with our mobile studio, you will see Peter George there. Because of that, there are some weeks that Peter he'd like a couple of days off in a row, and it's impossible for him to do the show. But whenever Peter does not have a remote on a Saturday, or he has a couple of extra hours, he will do the Saturday morning show. But unfortunately, he does have a full-time position here at the station as station engineer.
Because he is a class act on morning Saturdays.
Well, he'll certainly be glad to hear you say that.
That's true, really.
Well, great. We appreciate the comment. Thank you.
Richard, thank you so much. We have to break for news. We appreciate it. Bye-bye. It is 10 o'clock. Our guest is Bill Sebet. We'll be back with Bill after this news update.
You're listening to AM 1460, WBET Brockton. More of the Newsline after the news update. It's 10 o'clock.
Good morning, I'm Dick Benham reporting the 10 o'clock edition of WBET News. Lou MacNally, the Metro South weather, said a nice day and it's going to get nicer and nicer as the week goes on. We'll have details on that later in this news. Police continue to seek the hit-run driver who struck and killed 81-year-old Harry Kaufman of Francis Avenue, Randolph last night. Kaufman was walking home after services at Temple Beth Am when struck by the vehicle as he crossed Oak Street. In Mansfield, the investigation continues into the fatal four-car crash that took the life of 22-year-old Martha Nichols, the accident at the intersection of routes 106 and 140. And the operator of a car that crashed into a pole on Lincoln Street in Easton Friday night remains hospitalized. 18-year-old Craig Hurtle of Blackbrook Road, Southeastern, is in stable condition at Goddard Hospital. He was cited for speeding and operating so as to endanger. Also hurt David Morse of Northeastern in stable condition in the intensive care unit. The search for two missing New Bedford women continues today with help from specially trained dogs. Bristol County officials say they'll use 7 dogs to search highways in Bristol and Plymouth. Bristol County DA Ronald Pena said he and other authorities believe the two women were the victims of a serial killer. The two, Christina Montero and Marilyn Roberts, have been missing since 1988. The search will be conducted by a state trooper from Connecticut who is especially adept at working with dogs in searching for dead bodies. A man from Easton identified as one of the victims of the earthquake that struck Northern California. Authorities say the body of 26-year-old John Levanitis was recovered among slabs of concrete in Interstate 880 in Oakland. He'd been working on a project at the W.R. Grace plant in San Leandro, California since May. He was a lifetime resident of Easton. State lottery officials say they're confident that the winner of the $37 million Mass Millions jackpot will show up today. The ticket for the richest lottery millionaire in state history was sold Friday, but the winner remains at large as of yesterday. The state legislature is scheduled to vote today on bills for gay rights and bans on assault weapons. The House expected to vote on whether to outlaw discrimination against homosexuals in housing, employment, and credit. In the state Senate, lawmakers resume work on a bill that would place a limited ban on assault weapons in the city of Boston. Supporters of both measures are optimistic about the outcomes of the votes, but said they were not taking them for granted. Governor Dukakis said he'll sign a gay rights bill if passed by the legislature, and the gun control bill would apply to 9 weapons. Officials say public colleges and universities in the state are having a hard time recruiting faculty members because of budget cuts and the state's fiscal problems. Sherry Penny, who's chancellor of the University of Massachusetts at Boston, told the Globe that several people who had accepted jobs earlier this year backed out after hearing of the budget cuts. As expected, traffic heavy in the pre-dawn hours in San Francisco Bay Area today at 5 o'clock Pacific time. Traffic on the Golden Gate Bridge was bumper to bumper, but moving. It appears many people were following the advice of local officials and carpooling to work. Some of the freeways that are normally crowded with commuter traffic and the Bay Bridge linking Oakland and San Francisco remain closed because of damage from the earthquake. Today's the first major work day since the quake struck, and officials feared massive traffic tie-ups. Adding to the problem, some bad weather this morning with gale warnings posted. In some areas, rain is heavy. One of the ferries crossing the bay had to turn back because of rough waters. Repairs on the collapsed portion of the Bay Bridge expected to take at least 4 weeks. Rebuilding the crumbled section of I-880 will take much longer. Fears of another collapse have prompted officials to halt rescue operations along that road indefinitely. Yesterday, 150 residents living in a housing project near the highway were evacuated for safety reasons. Televangelist Jim Bakker faces up to 120 years in prison and more than $5 million in fines when he goes tomorrow before a judge that's earned the nickname Maximum Bob for handing out heavy sentences. Just last month, the same judge sentenced a former Bakker aide to more than 18 years in prison for tax evasion. Mission Control has its eye on the weather as Shuttle Atlantis prepares for early homecoming. Some concern about afternoon winds at the California landing site. The windy weather could put off the landing until tomorrow. In sports, the Patriots bowed to San Francisco 49ers 37-20 yesterday in the game played in California. Veteran Steve Grogan started his first game at quarterback for the Pats, who are now 2-5 on the season. NBA exhibition action last night. Celtics beat the Rockets 109-100 in Houston. Let's check now with Lou MacNally at the WBET Metro South Weather Center.
Sunshine heads our way with daytime high temperatures well on up into the upper 50s and low 60s today. Just the beginning, though. Looks like a fine stretch of weather. Just a couple of partly clouds tomorrow and sunny and warmer for Wednesday, and maybe even longer than that. That's the way it looks from here. This is Lou MacNally, 1460 WBET.
Thank you, Lou. Currently in Brockton, 59 degrees. I'm Dick Benham, WBET News. Back now to Newsline and Bill Alex.
Thanks very much, Dick Benham, and welcome back to Newsline on this Monday, October 23rd. Delightful day outside. Pardon me, the sun is out, and Bill Sebet is our guest.
One other thing just before we get to the next call, Bill. I also want to congratulate Channel 7, WNEV. They were received the award as the television station of the year from the mass broadcasters. So my hat's off to them. Kyle Renoise, who was their Vice President of Engineering for Channel 7, accepted the award, and I know they were thrilled, too.
You know, I've always been impressed with Channel 7 visually, and of course it is television. That's what it's supposed to be, visual. And for such a long time, Channel 7, of course, has been number 3, among the top 3 in Boston. Now, this will be interesting to see how they do in the ratings. I've always been impressed with them visually.
Yes.
But again, apparently, people watch for certain personalities. Now, I'm wondering...
Well, I think that has something to do with it.
Yeah.
In fact, you talk about personalities. Each year, the Massachusetts Broadcasters honors someone from the industry, and this year, the 2 honorees were people that I think will stir some memories in some of our listeners: Jack Chase and Don Kent. I mean, 2 people who, one started in 52, one in 53 in the Boston area, that I'm sure everybody at some time in their career has heard of. They were the honorees this year by the mass broadcasters as the broadcasters of the year. And I had the privilege, my wife and I had the privilege of sitting at the same table with Jack Chase, and the stories that he had about the industry were tremendous. It was a great evening.
Well, that's great. Congratulations to those 2 gentlemen. Good morning. You're on the air with Bill Sebet.
Well, and congratulations. I'm so happy that you got it with that beautiful voice of yours.
Well, thank you, Helen. We appreciate the call this morning.
Well, there's over 500 people where I live at Balea Towers. We're all senior citizens, and I bet you that nearly all of them listen. I know many, many people in here listen to your program every single day, just as faithfully as ever.
Well, we certainly like to hear that kind of talk.
Oh, God, we all listen to WBET because we're senior citizens, and a lot of them can't get out too much, and they do listen to Bill, and we all love him dearly.
Well, that's nice to hear. We appreciate the comments a lot. We really do.
Yes. I don't know what we'd do without that program.
Well, believe me, it's not going anywhere.
And my brother listens, and he'll say, "Oh, I heard you on the radio," and honest to God, he says, "You're always calling Bill."
Well, we thank you so much, Helen.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Day.
Thank you for your nice comments. Bye-bye. 587-2400. Good morning. You're on the air with Bill Sebet.
Yes, good morning, Bill. May I speak to your guest, please?
Yes,
I'm right here.
Yes, Bill.
Yes.
I think you've left somebody out.
Who's that?
Charlie Petty on the Saturday Night Oldie Show.
All right, well, I mentioned all of our part-time people, and the reason I couldn't get into that, there are so many people here in Charlie's background. Jim Larkin was mentioned earlier, who do specialized programming here for the station that I probably would have used up the whole hour to mention every one of them. What I try to do is mention all the people who work here full-time. But, yes, Charlie does a great job on that big band show, doesn't he?
Yeah, and he's so sincere about it. You know, he comes over beautifully.
Well, if you listen to most of the people I think we have here, where they're full of part-time, one, they're knowledgeable of what they're doing, and two, they are sincere. They like what they're doing, and it means a lot to them. And that's what makes the show so great.
Thank you very much, sir.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for your comments. And again, Charlie Petty, heard Saturdays on WBET in Brockton. Joining us now is the president of the Massachusetts Broadcasters Association, Bill Mockbee. Good morning, Bill.
Very pleasant good morning. How are you guys this morning?
Well, we're ecstatic, and we thank you and the Mass Broadcasters Association for the honor.
Well, the honor is well-deserved, and if I could, let me just take a minute and tell you how the process came down for WBET. Each and every year, the Massachusetts Broadcasters Association holds an open competition among the member stations and non-member stations throughout the Commonwealth. Things we look for are dedication to public service, community involvement, ways upon which the radio broadcast facility, in the case, obviously, of radio, can serve the community, its track record in being involved in community affairs, its ability not only to reach the advertising community, but also the general public with news and information and the details necessary to make our world go around. And as a result of that, each of the stations are invited to send in materials and tapes, promotional materials and things that they've done during the course of the year that would highlight their activities and their involvement in the community. And so that's the general judging processing and criteria that we use.
Well, and apparently this, as Bob Merman indicated earlier, Bill Mockbee, this is the first time again that the judges were from out of state. Is that correct?
That's correct. We find a great reluctance on our part to judge ourselves, and so I think we do that enough every day.
Mm-hmm.
So as a result of that, we have had a reciprocal agreement. Now, this is really the second year we've done it with the Maine Association of Broadcasters, Bangor, Maine. George Wildey at the New England School of Broadcasting is their head honcho who does all of the judging activities. And I must tell you, their judging criteria is extremely tight. The Maine broadcast people up there have no real Emmy Award type situation, which is the television category.
Mm-hmm.
So as a result, their awards take on an added luster because they really are the counterparts to the national awards that stations get from all around the world. So when they do judging, and when they take a look at stuff from out of state, like from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, their judging criteria may be some of the highest I've seen in all the years I've been in broadcasting. So the awards that we pass out, therefore, almost on a double judgment, make sure that the very best of the very best, and that's what makes the award for WBET so much nicer, because the fact, A, it was done out of state, and B, done by a state whose criteria is probably the highest in the country for judging. So you know you guys really did a super job in trying to do so. But may I add also, in fairness to all the other stations in the Commonwealth, Bill Sebet, who is your fine general manager, serves with us on the board of directors and is now the vice president for radio for MBA. When we go to Washington every year, we do professional liaison activities and contact work and so forth. It's refreshing to hear people like Ed Markey, who's head of telecommunications, and other of our congressional group say to us, if the other 49 states would run their broadcast people as well as Massachusetts does, there wouldn't be any need for any more legislation or contact because we do it so well, and I think that's true. A group of fine people throughout this state who really are committed to public service for the most part and really deliver on that every single day to make their communities a better place to live.
Well, Bill Sebet is sitting here in front of me, Bill Mockbee, and he appreciates those comments, needless to say.
Yeah, Bill, I really do. We really appreciate you coming on this morning and explaining again to our listeners the criteria behind the award. And as you probably can guess, Bill, it's a pretty happy place this morning.
You should be very happy in spite of what you've done. And seriously speaking, you guys should be very pleased. And I hope that if Myron's listening this morning, he'll have my best and warmest remarks as well. But I think really what the listener should understand is that it's very easy in some cases to pick out an award or pick out an event and say you did this well or did that well. But I think really what people in the greater Brockton area and so forth in Metro South should understand is that what we're really saying about a station like WBET, this is something that they do every single day, 365 days of the year. And therefore, that makes it even nicer for you people who listen to this fine broadcast facility, and also WCAV, to know the station is there for you. That's the reason why they turn the switch on every day, to make it possible for you people to have access and to really typify what we must do as trustees of these frequencies, and that is to operate in the public interest, convenience, and necessity. And that's what we try to do, and that certainly has been what WBET has done for a long period of time. It's just by time that you guys got the recognition you so richly deserve, and I'm just as proud as punch of you people, and I know you've knocked yourselves out, and I wish I were there to lift the cup with you and say hi and make it a good day, but I know you'll celebrate for me, and I know the listeners and your advertisers will benefit as well.
Bill Mockbee, thank you so much.
Thank you. You all have yourself a pleasant day, and again, congratulations to each and every one of your staff and fine people who do the work.
We appreciate the kind words, Bill.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Bill.
That is Bill Mockbee, the president of the Massachusetts Broadcasters Association.
One other thing that this should be mentioned, that's our advertisers. You know, really, Bill, without the advertisers, the station would be in trouble. We have salaries to pay, we have bills to pay, and without those people running their spots here on the air, we're out of luck. Hopefully they'll understand that, you know, we've been doing a good job for them, and that something like this, a piece of it belongs to them as well, because without their support, we're not here. That's basically what it comes down to. So they've been supporting us as well with their dollars to run their message on our airwaves, and so we owe them a gratitude too.
Good morning. You're on the air with Bill Sebet.
Morning. I take so much of your time most of the time that I thought I'd better call and congratulate you on the award you have.
Well, thank you. We appreciate the call.
I think it's most deserved, and it's always good to have, someplace to air your views. It's almost like having, calling up the girlfriend down the street and say, we call WBET like a lot of people.
Well, that's nice to hear, and, hopefully we're not going to let this go to our heads. I mean, everybody has worked so hard here that we promise that we're going to continue our efforts to keep WBET a top-notch station and just keep things the way they are and keep improving day in and day out.
I'm sure you will probably even be better by next year.
Thank you.
Thank you so much from Bridgewater this morning. We have a line open. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. First of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
Well-deserved honor.
Thank you, ma'am.
For comments.
Sure.
On Charlie Bergeron's show in the morning, is Uncle Stanley a real person?
Yes, he is. Believe it or not. I mean, he might be, some of his antics are a little far-fetched, but he is a real person.
I didn't know if Charlie imitated him.
Let's not give Charlie too much credit now. He's not that good.
What about the residents who call in? They're terrific, too.
Yes, that is someone who does those voices for us.
They are fantastic.
Yeah, he does, the gentleman that does that is a pretty talented person, I'll tell you.
Sure
he really is.
Charlie makes my morning each day.
Well, he does. And are you aware that today is Charlie Bergeron's birthday?
Pardon?
Today is Charlie Bergeron's birthday.
Is it really?
Yes, it is.
Well, congratulations.
So, he's having a nice day, too.
I'm glad for that. He deserves it. One other comment. I'd like to say I think the ethnic music programs are a little too lengthy. I like all kinds of music, and I like to be exposed to it.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's a little much.
Okay, what do you consider a little much? 1 hour, 2 hours?
An hour.
An hour would be sufficient, you think?
Yes.
Uh-huh. Okay.
All right, well, we do appreciate the comments. That's the only way we...
I do like them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's the only way that we can improve, really, is by listening to you, the people who are out there who turn your radio on every day to 1460, and then give us feedback. That's how we can improve this radio station. And that is one of the reasons why I enjoy coming on with Bill. We've had a lot of ideas have come from our listeners on this station, and we want our audience to know that we do pay attention to you, and we do think. I'm not saying that every suggestion that comes across we can do, but we certainly pay attention to them, and when the management team meets and gets together, they're discussed. So we enjoy getting comments like this from our listeners. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for your call, ma'am. We have a line open. Good morning, you're next. You're on the air.
Hey, Bill Alex.
Yes.
I'd like to congratulate you. This is the Democratic Cowboy.
Yes, Cowboy, thank you. We appreciate that.
Manager?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to congratulate you on the fine work you've done in keeping this going. And I agree with the head director here that a person should have two days a week to talk on the program. I believe you're right there.
Well, it is. I think, again, you want this to be the kind of show that many opinions are expressed. I really believe in that, and I know Bill does, and the management team here really believes that the more opinions, the better the show is, because more people get to voice it. And the more people that talk, the more ideas.
Everybody should have a fair chance. Another thing,
yes.
I'd like to see you put oldies music on weekdays.
Mm-hmm. What type of oldies? Rock and roll type oldies, or
50 type?
50s type?
No, hats off to Larry, Del Shannon, that kind of.
Well, Steve Albert, of course, does that on Saturday afternoons. Of course, he isn't right now with football. It's been discussed, but I think for those of people who listen to us most of the day, we really do not play an awful lot of music anymore. I mean, Charlie plays a half a dozen songs maybe in the morning, and Peter Bavor will play X amount on his program. Steve Mason for a couple of hours will play some music, but from 4 to 6, Steve really doesn't even get a chance to play that much, and then Steve Albert at night really isn't playing any music anymore. So music really, I guess, has not become the most important factor here to the audience, but that is a suggestion. Maybe we can sneak a few more of those oldies in there.
Yeah, the young people at night calling Steve Albert up.
Yep.
That line gets tied up constantly.
Oh, I know, it's tremendous. Really is. It's a great audience.
Oh.
Thank you, Cowboy, for your comments, and we appreciate them.
You too, Bill. Keep up the good work.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye. 587-2400. Good morning. You're on the air.
How you doing, Bill?
Fine,
Yes.
sir.
Thumbs up to you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There was one thing I wanted to say, but I think one of the most popular things about your station is you got Bill on this top morning talk show. Then you're the only radio station that turns around and has something like the swap shop. And then you have Steve with his weekly games. Then you have him covering the sports and everything else, and you're right up top as far as the news is go.
Well, we appreciate that, sir.
Okay.
Thank you for the call.
Thank
and
you
the
very
comments.
much. We'll take one more over here. Good morning. You're on the air.
I have one complaint.
Okay.
Yes, Bill.
It might be his birthday, but he gets too much time off.
Bergeron gets too much time off, huh?
Oh, I said.
You know, actually, a lot of people have said to me, is Charlie ever there? But you know what it is? Charlie, being the honest and hard worker that he is, doesn't take a full week's vacation at a time.
I know.
He takes 2 days here, 3 days there, and what a lot of people forget, besides, probably putting in 50 to 60 hours a week,
I
because
don't know how he does it.
his on-air and his managerial duties, he also does all the play-by-play of all of our sports.
Yeah, sure.
So Charlie probably averages somewhere in the vicinity of 65 to 70 hours a week here.
Well,
he really does.
He's 34 today. He can take it.
He's still young.
Guys, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for the comments, Phil. Bye-bye. We have 21 after the hour at 10. Good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Bill. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, sir.
Well, I got to tell you, Bill Steve, but I enjoy Bill Alex in the mornings. Very, very good.
Good. It's good to hear.
Now, let's hear the bad news.
No, I was going to ask you, Bill, I know you're a reporter. Are you going to report much about that Frank's lounge?
We had the story on last Friday, as I recall, in the afternoon.
Well, there's quite a bit to it. There's that Stella George, the superintendent of schools, and the license committee. It seems like everything seems quite deep there. It seems like that would be something where you get your teeth into.
Well, we can discuss that tomorrow because we have open lines tomorrow. You're referring to the Enterprise newspaper story this past week where they stated reportedly that Frank's lounge on Pearl Street in Brockton is privileged. That, in essence, was the topic because of the number of alleged incidents that have occurred there concerning drunken drivers. That's what you're referring to.
Means that the cops didn't, all this business going on, they never raided them. It seems rough.
We can get into that tomorrow.
Meanwhile, one thing, Bill Steve, but
yes, sir.
Don't particularly care for Betsy Zulis, which takes over Bill's show. She seems very curt with people.
Oh. Well,
And also, Marion Robles' program, she's on in the mornings, and she's on also on Sundays. I think enough is enough of her. I think she's on a little bit too much also.
Well, the type of guests that she brings in are the type of people that, offsets it from what Bill's kind of show does. It's a good entertainment show. We have guests in here with all the time. There are, believe me, many, many people who love that type of program. We get an awful lot of calls and comments about it. So, we have to try to please as many people as we can here.
And Bill's show, and probably shot in her show. I think you probably get if you want to.
Well, if you heard me earlier, that would be an impossibility because Bill has to get into the newsroom immediately after the show to start preparing his midday newscast.
Well, that's my 2 cents. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, sir. They're appreciated. Joining us now on the telephone is Lois Schleffler of the Muscular Dystrophy Association. Good morning, Lois.
Good morning, Bill and Bill.
Good morning, Lois.
On behalf of the Muscular Dystrophy Association, I just want to compliment you and congratulate you. I know that Charlie asked me to do a PSA for you that was submitted in behalf of muscular dystrophy. And I just want to tell you, Bill, the greatest.
Lois, that was in there, and I will tell you again, the comments from the main broadcasters, that was brought up for muscular dystrophy, our American Red Cross Heart Association, and our water shortage conservation program we did. They specifically named those 4 as being, from our standpoint, going above and beyond our service. So we were thrilled. We were absolutely thrilled with the whole thing.
Well, as I say, on behalf of all 4 of us, I just want to thank you, because if it wasn't for people like you and for the station and the staff, we just couldn't do the things that we do.
Well, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
I hope to be around a long time, as long as we need you.
Great. We hope to be here, too.
Okay. Congratulations again.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Lois. Bye-bye. Let's go over here. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, both Bills, and congratulations to my favorite radio station.
Oh, thank you. We appreciate it.
Thank you, ma'am.
I want to say, too, I was shocked to hear somebody criticize Betsy Zulis the way they did. To me, Betsy is a professional. She does a beautiful job, and I've never heard her curt to anybody.
Well, I guess you have to look, everybody has their own opinions, and, you take everything with a grain of salt.
I suppose so. Well, I think she's super.
Well, that's nice to hear.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments, ma'am. We're just about out of time. We'll take one more. Good morning. You're on the air.
Alex.
Yes, good morning.
Congratulations.
Thank you, ma'am.
I would just like to hear more about the politics that are going on in the city.
Uh-huh.
I don't seem to have too much of that.
Well, we'll have some politicians in here on Wednesday, as a matter of fact, this week. We'll have the 2 candidates from Ward 5, and later on Friday, we'll have some city councilor at-large candidates. So we'll try to get them all on.
Most people are interested in what's going on, in the city.
Sure.
Crash fees and so forth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Okay, very good, and we thank you so much for the call.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye. Bill, we're out of time.
Fast show today.
Certainly was. Certainly was. And needless to say, we appreciate you coming on this morning. And we'll do it again as far as getting some input as to programming and certain shows.
Well, I really think, Bill, that it is important that, if we do this once every quarter, every 3 months or so, to let our listeners know that there is somebody here that will pay attention. I mean, we do listen to what they have to say. We want them to know that. And I think this is certainly the best format to do it in.
And if someone has a comment they'd like to make with a little postcard or something, is there an address
they can write to me anytime. I would tell you to call me on the phone, but I can't always guarantee I'm here because of other obligations. We're in and out of the office on a number of occasions, but can always write. Always write.
Okay, what's the address, Bill?
Post Office Box 787, 60 Main Street, Brockton, 02403.
Very good. Bill Sebet, thank you so much.
Thank you, Bill.
Appreciate it. Thank you, audience, for making it possible. Again, we'll do it again tomorrow morning, right here on WBET in Brockton. Enjoy the day. The sun is out. It should be a nice day. We'll see you again tomorrow.
The opinions expressed on today's Newsline program are not necessarily those of the staff or management of WBET. The Newsline Talk Show is presented in the public interest by the Metro South News and Information Leader, WBET 1460.
Have you considered a career as a registered nurse? Men and women are needed in this vital healthcare profession more than ever before. Brockton Hospital School of Nursing has been preparing RNs for nearly 90 years, and you can be eligible for yours in just 2 years. Evening and weekend 4-year programs are also available. Applications are now being taken for the fall of 1990, but enrollment is limited, so call now. 586-2600 extension 2044. Brockton Hospital School of Nursing. 586-2600 extension 2044. Do it today.